multi-vector integration is Kazakhstan's chosen course of development. In the program, Single Market.
To live in an era of change is a great challenge, and this is very hard to argue with. However, the wisest of people in China believe that the times of change can be used as an opportunity for growth and development. Hello, my name is Pavel Koktashev. In today's episode of Single Market, the rules of the game, collaboration of customs authorities of Eurasian Economic Union countries, Singapore, the experience of the Asian tiger. And coming right up, trends. Asia is still the driver of growth of the world economy. Asia. Almost 4.4 billion people live in this part of the world. This is about 2/3 of the world population. This suggests great potential of the market, labor force, and consumption levels. Out of the 10 biggest economies of the world, 4 are in Asia. And if Russia is added to this list, which occupies a huge territory at the juncture of Europe and Asia, then that makes 5. The total GDP of these countries is almost $36.4 trillion US, or 57.4% of the world GDP.
В процентном выражении это 57,4%.
At the backdrop of the anemic economies of Europe, United States, and Great Britain, despite the slowdown in the economy of China, overall Asia is in pretty good shape. According to the forecast of the Asian Development Bank, economic growth of the region in 2016 will be no less than 6%. In order to maintain this tempo, according to analysts, the Asian tigers will be establishing integration associations. This process will substantially simplify conditions for trade and investments. Aside from domestic resources, the largest economies of Asia will be able to utilize the international vector of development. Here the key role is relegated to Russia and the countries of Central Asia. In this respect, the high transit potential of Kazakhstan especially stands out. Today, the country is actively engaged in multimodal transport projects that are linking the economic interests of China, the Eurasian Economic Union, and countries of Central Asia. If the Asian dragon spreads its wings, then the center of world production will confidently find its place in the largest part of the world. A question arises whether the region will be able to become more influential in the world from a political point of view. There is a chance to change the established status quo. By the way, this was already voiced by the President of Kazakhstan. During the general discussion of the 70th session of the UN General Assembly, Nursultan Nazarbayev proposed to change the location of the UN headquarters to Asia. And to summarize, one way or another, many experts believe that the world is at the brink of events that will radically shift the current geoeconomic scenario and will give it a distinct Asian focus. Customs approves. This is the moment that all the member countries of the Eurasian Economic Union are waiting. But not everything happens so fast. Not a single integration association has been able to, nor does it seem that it will be able to, avoid the transition stage. Optimization of the work of customs is another thing, however, to get them to work efficiently, transparently, and in the interests of the common good. Our correspondent from Minsk, Dmitry Dvoinev, find out what are the authorities of the member countries doing to achieve this.
Страны ЕАЭС к сегодняшнему дню в плане интеграции уже накопили.
At the moment, the countries of the Eurasian Economic Union have already accumulated enough experience in policy making, and they're ready to share it with the world community. One of the top customs authorities even joked about this, saying that it is time to establish within the World Trade Organization a Eurasian division.
Евразийский дивизион.
Today, the customs authorities of the Eurasian Economic Union countries are faced with a task to adopt the customs code of the Eurasian Economic Union by the end of this year, until which there is only a month and a half left. What's more, no one has relieved the customs authorities of their work on optimization of cargo movement and prevention of smuggling of contraband goods, including those products that are on the sanctions-based list of Russia. For example, the nearest neighbors, Russia and Belarus, in order to resolve this problem, are using online control.
В течение минуты-полутора видим, какие машины пересекают границу. У нас очень хорошо.
It only takes a minute for us to see what cars are crossing the border. Russian customs authorities have quite a big presence here. We're also closely cooperating using this instrument.
Также через этот инструмент плотно взаимодействуем.
Уже за год работы вместе с Федеральной таможенной службой.
Over the year working with the Federal Customs Service of Russia, we have elaborated quite good mechanisms of control, records keeping, exposure of such schemes, and prevention of such activity.
И пресечение подобных фактов.
From the moment that Kyrgyzstan became a full-fledged member of the Eurasian Economic Union, an increase in cargo flow from Kyrgyzstan to Kazakhstan was expected, and a simultaneous rise in the re-export of Chinese products. But this is not what happened. We're monitoring through the quantity of auto vehicles that are passing, their movement. We have not seen a great surge in the flow of goods from Kyrgyzstan because our colleagues are working hard on the Chinese border. We see and control practically everything. Today, the customs services of the Eurasian Economic Union are actively working on the unification of customs tariffs of products that enter the markets of the Eurasian Economic Union from third countries. This approach will optimize the movement of goods not only within the Union, but also across world markets, first and foremost between the markets of China and Europe. If a product from China enters, for example, from St. Petersburg or from Horgos onto the territory of Kazakhstan, the price range should be within some sort of a similar level, so that there is no competition based on lowering prices. The customs services of the Eurasian Economic Union have enough experience in cooperation, including within the format of extended communication. That is why the meetings are very productive. All the tasks said during the meetings are duly completed.
We do
not leave any issue unresolved within the format of cooperation of 5 customs authorities. If a member has a specific point of view or approach, we respectfully listen to their remarks and discuss it all during collegium meetings, and then, returning to our national customs services, give internal orders, the carrying out of which is mandatory. One of the clear examples of the collegiate approach and voting rights is Kazakhstan's proposal on preserving the principle of residency. The argumentation behind this proposal is that if a resident, in this case a tax-paying citizen of one country, during the customs clearing procedures pays an added value tax on the territory of another union member country, then in the case that the product is returned, then there could be a problem in getting back the amount paid in taxes. In addition, there will be more opportunities for contraband activity. This will start undermining the taxation system. In our opinion, getting rid of the principle of residency carries a high risk of cross-flow of goods and high risk of creating conditions that promote contraband activities. By the way, Kazakhstan's experience in uniting customs and tax services into a unified committee of state revenues and the work of specialists of this entity has attracted the attention of the relevant services of the Russian Federation.
Это заслуживает очень серьезного изучения, потому что это опыт, наверное, это на шаг впереди.
This deserves a serious study. Our experience is a step ahead in relation to Russia. They united their databases and understand how to collect direct and indirect taxes, what are tariffs, added value tax as a unified whole.
И прямые косвенные налоги. Что такое пошлина, что такое НДС, это как единое целое.
It is good to take note of the improvements in customs services and also those that were made not as a result of integration processes. Today, this practice is already being implemented within the Eurasian Economic Union. The project of the Eurasian Economic Union Customs Code will take international standards into account to the fullest extent possible. All the work is aimed at achieving the main goals: freedom of movement of goods, services, capital, and labor force. The expected result of these efforts: simplification of administrative work, less formalities, and elimination of unnecessary barriers. Dmitry Dvoinev, Minsk, exclusively for Single Market.
В рейтинге экономической свободы по версии The Heritage Foundation в 2015 году второе место занимает Сингапур с показателем...
In the 2015 rating on economic freedom of the Heritage Foundation, Singapore is in second place. Its rating is 89.4 points, which is only 0.2 points behind Hong Kong, a leader among the top 10 economies of the world. How did Singapore manage to reach this top position, including in other ratings? What can help Kazakhstan apply the lessons from the experience of this Asian tiger? Our correspondent Zulfiya Timirgaliyeva finds out.
Выясняла наш корреспондент Зульфия Тимиргалиева.
The history of independent Singapore is quite unique, a country that made a giant leap from what is considered as a third world to the first, and became one of the first Asian tigers. For Kazakhstan, a country that will celebrate the 24-year anniversary of its independence on December 16th, Singapore's example is a great motivation for growth.
Singapore 40 years ago was a swamp. with 500,000 people, 500,000 people. Singapore now has 5.5 million people, over 10 times as many, and is one of the rich, if not the richest country in the world right now on a per capita basis. And that's all because they opened up and said, let's do it. Let's bring people in here, let them bring their crazy ideas, their good ideas.
In the 21st century, Singapore is a city-state which holds top positions in international business ratings on investment potential, competitiveness of the economy, efficiency and flexibility of the labor market, and economic freedom. The country has one of the most optimal business climates. Arman Bisikev has his own office in Singapore. His international company provides integral solutions in the spheres of energy and telecommunications. The businessman knows from his own experience that it is fast and easy to open up one's own business in Singapore. You write to someone through a website, and in 2 to 3 days you get a response. That's it, and nobody tells you that your request has to be processed. The ease of running a business in Singapore is supported by a simple system of low taxes. There are only 5 types of taxes, and their total rate is 27.1%. And overall, quite an efficient legal base was created, in the formation of which, according to experts, the experience of Great Britain played a great role.
When Hong Kong and Singapore were developing so quickly, they didn't have to invent a legal structure for themselves. They already had it. The British gave it to them, and that was a strong structure on which to build. But I think that idea of borrowing, not having to feel you have to invent everything yourself, but borrowing ideas from successful countries is one way of developing fast, but not recklessly.
Attractiveness of Singapore for potential investors is always noted in such factors as advantageous geographic position, developed infrastructure, and convenient logistics for sea shipments. That is why there are tough conditions for tenders on delivery of, for example, equipment. And so for a business, this is very important. Over a period of 10 years, Kazakhstan has invested $900 million into the economy of Singapore, and Singapore in return around 60 million. This is 15 times less. Today, Kazakhstan is making efforts to improve its business climate and attract foreign investments. Singapore is among the potential partners in which the country, whilst attempting to diversify its economy, is interested in. I think that Singapore, first of all, is interested in engaging in spheres with high margins. These are IT infrastructure, chemistry, petrochemical industry, the most advanced technologies. Because Singapore is a sort of a financial and technological hub for all countries, including developed countries. The most optimal platform for Kazakhstan-Singapore cooperation are special economic zones. First of all, we're talking about clusters that are being formed today at the Nazarbayev University and the Alatau Park of Information Technologies. In addition, there's quite a compelling motive for attracting capital and technological know-how from Singapore, the special economic zone, Horgos Eastern Gates. Here, next to the seaport, an industrial zone is being established where the most modern production sites will be created. This will be a tax-free zone, including exemption from income tax, land tax for 10 years, and property tax. Businesses in Singapore love to use advertisement slogans in order to attract the attention of business representatives and investors. Kazakhstan has just started to implement this practice. On behalf of Single Market, we're ready to give our own advice. If you're getting ready for a business trip, if you're looking for new partners, make a stop in Kazakhstan. Here, interesting opportunities await you. Zulfiya Timirgaliyeva, Askar Aitkenov, exclusively for Single Market.
На сегодня это все. С вами был Павел Коктышев.
That's all for today. My name is Pavel Koktyshev. Kind reminder, all the episodes of our program are available on www.kazakh-tv.kz.
На территории, у которой нет границ.